Well, welcome everyone to the podcast. I'm Richard Graham. We have Matthew Jones and also Enzo Graham with us. Let's start the show. We're going to be talking about our process and our thoughts on short stories. Who want to go first?
Y'all,
I'll go first.
y'all can go first.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is Lenzo. My thoughts on short stories is I'm just jump right in there. It's less frustrating. Um, since I started working on short stories and breaking down my story in like a maybe a 10-page episodes and stuff, is way less frustrating, and it's easier to get to the point and then move on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. After doing research, like a few days, like years ago, actually, on the process of like Mike Mignola, like how he started off with just doing short stories. I'm also like right now, like trying to limit it myself to like 4 pages. Like I've been working on like a story right now for these few past days, trying to squeeze it into 4 pages and stuff. And yeah, it's a unique idea, and I'm sure that once I like consistently do this, I can just make it into one book, which is a better process for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. For me, it was a little it's a little all over the place because I had started doing the Void Beast books with like short stories and everything, but they were like little short novels. And like I said, I had the co-writer and everything with me, Stephanie. But that was still that was a little all over the place, and I didn't fully what was happening because I was still new, getting in and making stuff happen. So, I still had this big giant goal in my head. So with the short stories, it's easier to break that down. And like you guys were saying, like with Mignola and everything, a lot of these creators start off with doing one shots and them short one shots. And some of them, some of them may be 30 something pages before like, because I do a lot of the manga style and I pay attention to that. Like Toriyama from Dragon Ball, he did a bunch of one shot. Araki, just one of my favorite from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, he did a few one shots. And then Mura from Berserk actually started off as a one shot. It was just that one first book, and then they went on after that. So it's very important to start with those one shots, and like you guys were saying, starting off with 4 or 5 pages, maybe even 10 pages, and getting it done and knocked out, because it starts to knock that rust and that nervousness off of you, so you can start getting it done, and then seeing how people receive it and how they like it, and then you can go on to the next story. You finish up that one shot, get those couple of pages out, go on to the next one, and don't try to throw everything into one story, because that's what I kind of did with Void Beast. It was like I was going chapter after chapter after chapter after chapter, and again, we've talked about this before, to where it kind of throws people off when you're trying to sell it also, because especially like in person, because they don't ever know if you go on chapter by chapter by chapter, and it's like, okay, there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4, there's 5, and people never get to see the rest of it if something happens, especially in the indie realm that we're in. Especially like for me, since I hire artists, the artists could leave, they could be done, they could get bigger jobs or whatever the case may be, to where I'm just sitting here with a script and I can't get it out there. So short stories is definitely the way, and it's when you're starting off. Start off with one shots, short stories, and then go into building your world off of that. That's what I would recommend to anybody. I even started doing that with Void Beast now, to where I have my book called The Pride, about 3 other Void Beasts that TJ finally comes encounters with, and all three of the stories are little short stories. They were originally 10 pages, but I always give room for the artist to add to, or even take away if they have to, because I don't want to cramp their process up. So I'd say, okay, it's a 10-page story, but I'll add in an extra 15, maybe 17 pages. So no more than 17 pages. If you want to spread out some action, if you want to put some more details in there, we can do that. So I'll give room for an extra 7 pages. So some might be 12 pages. One might be 15 pages. The other one might be 17. But it's still a short story that we can put all in one book and then sell that one book as that one shot, and you don't have to come back to it. They don't have to read the other stories to know what's going on, all that other stuff. All of it makes sense, and so it's easier for people to pick it up and be able to understand who the character is if they like the character. And it's also, like you guys were saying, like as far as flexing that muscle on condensing that story and getting everything that you need in those couple of pages, and not just floundering around with a bunch of side stuff and other stuff like, well, I'm building this world, this and that, and none of this has anything to do with your main character getting to where they need to be at. So I think that's I personally will be doing more of that for myself after the next book that I'm doing, the next one after for one shots and just going with that. So there's some other stuff I get on, but I'll let you guys go ahead and go too.
Well,
nah, it's fabulous.
Yeah, a lot of info in Ideal, man.
Oh, yeah.
I never thought about like the ideal that like people that like get other people to draw like short stories, like is probably a good idea, because like if they hire an artist, they don't have to worry about like a whole volume of like, is they gonna still be here? You know, you can have that one shot with that one good artist, and you know you can sell that one shot and stuff.
Yeah, and I remember Matthew talking about that. It's good for artists to be able to work on a project that's not going to take that long. Because just like anybody else, like artists, we get frustrated and we get tired too. Like if we're not feeling something, like if it takes too long to complete, and I'm speaking for myself right now, I might put it to the side for a while because I get bored and stuff. So,
like, I didn't know that the creator of JoJo like started off with short stories. I have came across like the Berserk short story, which was a little bit different than the actual Berserk like manga, which was like, oh man, he had this idea and then it evolved into this, like from the short story. I'm like, wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, I forgot. I always forget the one that Rocky did. It's the dude. I remember it because I forget his name. I think it starts with a B, but it was like a character. He had these blade arms and stuff like that, and the character almost looked like Star Platinum with like blades in his arm. But I always forget it. But he had that one shot, and it's like they go through so many of them to where it's like it just polishes what they're going to get into later, and it's like you're working on bettering your own skills and tightening everything up with these one shots, and then working with editors and they telling you what's good, what's not, and everything. And my main reason for it also was when I started doing recently was because of what you said, Pat, to where it was like, man, I would talk to artists. They're like, yeah, oh, it's cool. So they'll do everything sounds good, but I can't work on nothing that long. I'm like, what? Oh man. And then it's like, but then if I ask them to do like a pinup or like a poster or something, they're like, oh yeah, I can do that. Okay. And nothing against them, because that's their time. That's the artist's time.
Right, yeah.
They got stuff to do. Nothing against them. So I kept thinking about it. I'm like, man, what in the world? So I would look at people do the anthologies and then other short stories, and they're getting these. I'm like, how are y'all doing this? So I started reaching out and be like, hey, can you do this for me? I like work. We've worked together before, whatever the case may be. And then it's like, when do you need it? Well, I need it this time, X, Y, and Z. How long is it? It's like, yeah, it's about 10 pages with 7 pages, no more than 7 pages to expand on. The script is 10 pages. If you need room for some more, we can extend it to 7 pages, no more than that. Or maybe even, or sometimes I might even say, we can add on an extra 5, no more than that. And then they're like, oh yeah. So they're like, give me the script. And then they'll look at it real quick and they're like, okay, it'll be about 13 pages. And then they'll knock it out real quick. And then we just go on and we keep it moving. So I realized that artists are more open to that because it's easier. Like you guys were saying, man, y'all got stuff to do. You can get bored with something real quick. You still trying to, some folks still got day jobs. Some people trying to get other jobs that pay a little bit more money or whatever the case may be. And then working on my story for the next God knows how long, it can slow up the whole process. So I started doing that for that reason, and I really liked it because a lot of artists that I really like are more open to that and can do it. So I'm like, you know what? Let me go ahead and get that done and start doing that. I'll be doing a lot more of that, but it's easier for me, being that I write, to work with artists that want to do the short ones and they knock them out real quick and we keep it moving.
This has actually made me start thinking about like maybe like looking for more conventions in the realm of short stories, like with other people too. So that's a prospect that then came to my mind. Like, why have I never thought about like promoting to like help people with short stories? So I might actually start doing that too.
I think it'd be helpful. I think it would work because it's just, it's like if you got 3, 4, 5, because some of the anthologies are only like 4 or 5 pages. They'll be like, we got this anthology on Black horror, and each they might have like 20, 15, anywhere 10, 15, 20 stories, and each one is only like 4 or 5 pages, or each one might be 7 pages, and they have an artist, a writer, and then they throw it together, and you just keep knocking them out, and everybody gets some exposure from those books. And that's something that I'm thinking about doing too, especially like what we've been talking about going more into the horror direction of everything. So that's something I might reach out to folks and do, but I think it just makes it easier on everybody.
Oh yeah.
And let me just say, like, on that subject about horror, there are more horror fans than there are action or comedy, or even like romance might have about the same amount, but horror has a whole lot more fans.
Oh yeah, true. It's just the aspect of like doing horror in comics is like aspect that like most people don't try to like read or get into, but like the theme of horror is like greatly popular, but like I haven't seen it many like horror comics that get popular, unlike manga like Uzumaki and stuff like that, and forgot his other story too. It started with a J, but it's also got like a Cartoon Network series right now. That's horror based.
I might have to check that out. I know that like the most recent one I read that was horror was Rodney Barnes' Blackula, and that was good. Like I liked the pacing of it. Because it was part of my research and stuff too, but I really liked the pacing that Rodney did on Blackula, that graphic novel that he recently put out. It was really good, and it explained a lot more of who the character was, and it did give you that the horror themes that he had in there. It did give you that tense feeling when reading it. So I'm like, I'm gonna have to work on that and get some more of that going. But I have to agree that there are a lot of horror frames. I think romance and horror got to be two of the biggest ones now. mix them and do whatever. But definitely, I really want to start getting those themes across more. And I think using short stories would be the best way to do it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely love this subject because ever since the last time we talked about it, I've been like revamping my story with my OC character, Devon Grace, and I was like, I'm just looking at how I can make things shorter and help it to just be able to put it out quicker because, you know, time is precious and I'm just trying to do whatever I can.
So you think you're gonna try to like compact it into short stories?
Yeah, definitely. Like, cause I had made like freaking, like I said last time we were just talking. I've been working on Divine Grace for 6 years, and the first title I had changed it from Disciple, the Disciple, into who she is now. So yeah, she done went through a whole lot, and I still haven't published her like on a major scale like that. So like doing short stories is for me a better idea because like my mind is just like exploding with new ideas, and I love it.
Now with that story, what was keeping you from getting it out? Was it like what was keeping you from getting it done?
Well, most of all, I have anxiety trouble, like issues. So if I like focus on one subject too long, I get stuck, and that's why it took me so long to develop her story. But now I'm to a point where I'm about ready to just like put it out there. But I'm sad that it did, but I do appreciate the time that I took because I didn't rush, you know.
Yeah, I wouldn't feel bad because I'm the opposite. Like for me, once it happens and I start getting anxious, I'm like, okay, I just got to get this mess done. I got to get it done and get it out. Like I was like, once I start feeling that, it's like, let me get this done, let me get it out, and then let me see what people think about it. Let me see what I think about it. Once I can look at it, and hold it, and everything, and then I can go from there. Like if it's like that, that's what gets me. But I was going to say, I don't know if it's like, I was going to also ask, was it something to where the new ideas are coming and then you're trying to build this world and then all these characters and all this other stuff? One of the things that I focused on with Void Beast was when I was going over the books, even the books that I already have out for me personally, and looking at the reaction from other people that have read it and everything, like they love the kid, like so. Okay, so this is just a whole thing with Void Beast for me. So they I'm in this Airbnb and this light is going on and off and I don't know why. I'm like, this light ain't been on the whole time. Is it me moving? I'm like, what is going on? Anyway, if I go quiet and you hear some hissing or something killed me. So my process with Void Beast is like, okay, so people like the character. They love TJ. They love the characters. They love what he can do, all that stuff. But I was focusing on doing this big old world, werewolves, this and this and that, and they do this and they do that, and these ones over here, and it's like people are like, okay, I see what's going on, and I like them. I like the character. I'm following the story, but I need to know more about this character. I need to know more about what he's about, what's his end goal and stuff like that. And it was like I think I kind of lost some people sometimes in like the first chapter or so, but then it starts zeroing in like chapter 3, 4, and 5 and stuff. And I think there was a lot more stuff that I could have condensed there too. But with what I started focusing on, like we talking about with the short stories, is just focusing on TJ. Like I don't really care about